Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I don't want to be a burden on anyone? Maybe it was after a doctor's appointment, a quiet afternoon alone, or even just watching your children rushing between work, kids, and their own daily battles. That little voice whispers, I want to live with dignity. I want to stay in control of my life. And if you felt that way, let me tell you, you're not alone. That feeling is more common than you might think. In fact, it might just be the beginning of something powerful. Because growing older isn't about fading away. It's about stepping into a chapter where peace, joy, and freedom matter more than ever. But that kind of old age doesn't happen by accident. It takes preparation, not the kind you do with bank accounts alone, but with your body, your heart, and your mind. Today, I want to talk with you about something deeply personal, something that could change the way you think about the years ahead. We're going to explore the 3 pillars of a safe and happy old age. 3 quiet, steady supports that can carry you through your later years with strength and grace. Let's start with the first one. It might seem obvious, but I want you to hear it in a different way. Your health. Not just avoiding illness, not just keeping up with prescriptions, but really truly owning your physical and mental well-being. Because without health, all the money in the world can't buy you peace. And without energy, even the smallest joys can feel out of reach. Now think back to your younger years. How often did you push through fatigue? Skip meals? Delay that checkup because there was something more urgent? We've all done it. We traded sleep for work, home-cooked meals for fast food, walks in the park for hours at a desk. And it made sense at the time. We were building families, careers, homes. But now, in this stage of life, those choices come back to us. And here's the good news. It's never too late to shift direction. Taking care of your health doesn't mean you need to overhaul everything or run marathons. It starts with listening. That little stiffness in your knees when you get out of bed, that afternoon slump that hits a bit harder these days, those are your body's gentle nudges saying, hey, I need a little more care. You don't have to go it alone either. A daily walk, even 15 minutes around your block, can work wonders. Not just for your heart, but for your mind. A walk clears the fog, lifts your spirits, and reminds you that movement is life. And when it's paired with good food, real food, full of color and flavor, you're giving your body the fuel it's been craving. There's a special kind of satisfaction in choosing foods that nourish you. It doesn't mean giving up everything you love, but it might mean swapping that second helping of white rice for a bit more steamed greens, or adding fresh fruit to your breakfast instead of something processed. These aren't punishments. They're gifts you give yourself. Because the more you love your body, the more it loves you back. And let's not forget the mind. Oh, how quickly we overlook it. But just like your muscles, your brain needs exercise too. Read books that make you think. Do puzzles that challenge your memory. Even learning something new, a hobby, a language, a dance, keeps your brain flexible and alive. It's not about avoiding dementia or memory loss. It's about enjoying the sharpness, the curiosity, the engagement with life. Mental health matters just as much. Stress, anxiety, and loneliness can wear down your immune system, rob you of sleep, and chip away at your happiness. If you're carrying old regrets or constantly worrying about what's next, you're not alone. But you do deserve peace. And you can give yourself permission to let go of what no longer serves you. Sometimes that peace starts with small acts. Turning off the news a little earlier, calling a friend, sitting outside in the morning sun with a warm cup of tea. These quiet rituals are not trivial. They're powerful. They anchor your days and calm your heart. When you invest in your health, not in big dramatic ways, but in consistent, loving ways, you're telling yourself, I matter. You're laying down the roots for a life that isn't dependent on others to feel full. You're giving your future self the gift of independence. And that independence is what lets you live with pride, with joy, and with fewer worries about being a burden. Some people think growing older means becoming weaker. I don't believe that for a second. Aging is not a loss. It's a return. It's a return to yourself, to what's essential. And when you strengthen your health, body, and mind, you make that return full of promise. I know it's not always easy. I know there are days when getting out of bed takes effort, when old injuries ache, or when the numbers on a lab report make you anxious. But that's okay. The point is not perfection. The point is progress. The point is doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. And the truth is, when you commit to those small acts of care day after day, they become something much bigger. They become freedom. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, feels better than waking up knowing that you can still take care of yourself. That you can still enjoy your morning, move through your home, prepare a meal, even help someone else. That is strength. That is power. That is the kind of old age that uplifts, not weighs down. And here's something else. When you care for yourself, when you invest in your well-being, you're not just helping yourself. You're easing the hearts of those who love you. Your children, your grandchildren, your friends, they want to see you thrive. They want to know you're okay. And when they see you strong, joyful, and in charge of your life, it gives them peace too. So, take that walk. Cook that nourishing meal. Say no to what drains you, and yes to what fills you up. Listen to the signals your body sends. Laugh when you can, rest when you need to, and know that every time you choose health, you're choosing freedom. And now that we've opened the door to caring for your body and mind, let's take a moment to reflect on something just as important, perhaps even more so on the hard days, and that's the relationships that hold us steady when life begins to feel fragile. Because once we've tended to our own health, once we've taken those first steps toward feeling stronger and more alive, there's something else that begins to stir inside us, a desire for connection, a longing not just to live, but to share life with someone who understands us, who sees us for who we are and who we've become. There's something deeply powerful about knowing you're not alone. That even as the world shifts around you, children grow up, friends move away, routines change, there's still one person who's been walking beside you through it all. Someone who knows your habits, your stories, your quirks, and loves you more for them, not less. And if you're fortunate enough to have that person in your life, a life partner, a spouse, a companion, then you already know the quiet comfort of shared mornings and familiar glances. The way a small joke over coffee or a gentle touch on the shoulder can speak louder than words. This kind of relationship becomes a lighthouse in old age. It helps you weather the storms, but it also brightens your calm days with joy. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. Decades together bring with them joy, yes, but also disagreements, frustrations, grief. Maybe you've had to adjust your expectations as bodies change and energy fades. Maybe the person you married is no longer the same in many ways, just as you've changed too. But that's the beauty of long-term love, isn't it? It's not static. It grows with you. It deepens, softens, strengthens. And as we grow older, it becomes less about grand romantic gestures and more about small, everyday acts of kindness. Folding the laundry together, sharing a quiet walk, reminding each other to take your pills, laughing about the same old stories. These moments, they're the glue. And in the midst of aging, when our bodies may falter and our roles in society may shift, that emotional anchor becomes more precious than ever. Because when someone understands your silence, when they can finish your sentences or sense your worry before you speak it, that's more than love. That's companionship. That's home. If you're with your partner now, cherish that bond. Nurture it. Speak kindly. Apologize freely. Touch often. Share your fears, not just your plans. Open up, even about the things that are hard to say. Because closeness in this stage of life requires courage. It asks us to be vulnerable again. To say, I need you, and to hear, I'm here. And yes, intimacy still matters. Even now, perhaps especially now. Too often people talk about sexuality like it's only for the young. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Intimacy in later years might look different, sure. It might be slower, more gentle, more about connection than performance. But it's just as vital. Because sexuality, in its truest form, is not about proving anything. It's about closeness. It's about touch, about tenderness, about feeling safe in someone's arms. It's about being reminded that you are still desirable, still needed, still full of life. Whether it's a kiss on the cheek, a cuddle before bed, or something more, it all matters. It keeps love alive. It keeps us alive. And if physical limitations or emotional wounds have made this part of life feel distant or difficult, know this. It's never too late to rediscover intimacy, to talk to your partner, to seek help if needed, to be curious together again. Intimacy is not bound by age. It simply evolves. Now, some of you might be listening and thinking, but I don't have a partner anymore. Maybe your loved one passed on. Maybe life didn't bring you that long-lasting relationship. Maybe you're divorced or never married or living apart. If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. The need for connection doesn't end with romance. You still deserve deep, meaningful bonds. Friendships can become just as nourishing as marriage. A weekly call with a friend, a shared hobby, a trusted neighbor. These are the lifelines of emotional wellness. You might even meet someone new. Yes, even now, someone who surprises you, who makes you laugh, who reminds you that connection can begin at any age. Loneliness can feel heavy, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Reach out. Say hello to someone you see often but have never really talked to. Join a group, volunteer, take a class, even if it's just to pass the time. Because in passing the time, you just might find connection. And from connection comes healing. You are not meant to go through this life alone. And even if your days are quiet, your heart still beats with the desire to be known, to be understood. So give yourself that gift, whether it's with a partner you've cherished for decades or with a new friend who lights up your day. Love doesn't fade with age. It simply changes its shape. It becomes more patient, more forgiving, more accepting. And in that transformation, it becomes even more beautiful. So let your relationships support you. Let them ground you when the world feels uncertain. Let them remind you that no matter what happens next, you are cared for. You are seen. You are loved. And as we reflect on these emotional connections that give life meaning, let's also turn our attention to something a little more practical, but no less powerful. Because while our health gives us freedom and our relationships bring us joy, there's still one more pillar that quietly supports it all. Because even when your body is strong and your heart is full, there's one more piece that holds everything together, and that's your sense of stability. Not emotional, not physical, but financial. Yes, money. It might not be the most inspiring topic at first glance, but let's talk about it honestly, gently, and with the kind of wisdom that only time gives. Money in itself is just a tool. It's not what makes us happy. But the freedom it gives us, the peace of mind it brings when used with intention, that's priceless. You see, financial independence in old age isn't about having millions in the bank or living a life of luxury. It's about having enough to live with dignity. It's about being able to choose where you live, what you eat, how you spend your time, without having to ask or wait for someone else to help. And let's face it, no matter how loving our children are, most of us don't want to rely on them for every little thing. We don't want to feel like a burden. We want our relationships to be about love, not money. About shared joy, not quiet guilt. And financial independence, even in small amounts, allows that to happen. Maybe you've been wise with your savings. Maybe you've had ups and downs. Or maybe you've never really had the time or the guidance to think about your money at all. No matter where you are right now, it's never too late to take back some control. You don't need to be a finance expert. You just need to be aware, conscious, intentional. Start by looking at your income. Maybe it's a pension, maybe some savings, or maybe a bit from part-time work or support. Whatever it is, treat it like a lifeline, not something to fear, but something to care for. Track what comes in and what goes out. See where small adjustments can make a big difference. Sometimes what drains our finances isn't just the big bills, it's the daily habits. The things we don't even notice. Ordering out too often. Forgetting to cancel a subscription. Not comparing prices on medicine or essentials. None of these are mistakes, they're just parts of modern life. But becoming more mindful of them can help you stretch your resources and make space for the things that really matter. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have a pension, learn how it works. If you have savings, explore safe ways to grow or protect them. There are people and programs out there, often free or low cost, designed to help older adults navigate financial planning. Seek them out. You don't need to figure it all out alone. Then there's the planning, not just for the now, but for the future. It might be uncomfortable to think about things like medical bills, long-term care, or end-of-life expenses. But facing those topics now, while you're still strong and clear-minded, gives you a kind of strength that will serve you later. You're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it to protect your family, to reduce their stress when decisions need to be made. Write things down. Share your wishes with someone you trust. Create a plan that reflects your values, your comfort, your dignity. Because planning isn't about fear, it's about freedom. It means that no matter what comes, you've taken steps to face it with grace. And here's something else worth saying. Having money doesn't mean giving it all away. It's okay to help your children and grandchildren if you choose to. But you're not obligated to sacrifice your own well-being to do it. The best gift you can give them sometimes is the example of how to live wisely and securely. Let them see you taking care of yourself. Let them learn from your strength. Too often, older adults feel guilty about spending on themselves. They hesitate before booking a short trip, buying a better mattress, or signing up for a class, thinking, maybe I should save that for someone else. But remember, you've earned the right to enjoy your time. If something brings you joy, comfort, or peace, and it's within your means, allow yourself to say yes. Even small pleasures, like a warm meal out, a trip to the coast, a hobby you've always wanted to try, these things are not indulgences. They are nourishment for the soul. And the truth is, a well-lived old age is made up of those little joys, those yes moments. That's what financial freedom can offer. Not extravagance, but choice. Now, if you're someone who feels behind, maybe you didn't get to save much or circumstances wiped out what you had, I want you to hear this. It's not too late. It's never too late to find support, explore resources, or begin again. There are community programs, senior services, and even part-time opportunities that can provide relief and a sense of contribution. You still have value. Your time, your wisdom, your presence, they matter. So whether you're managing a modest budget or a comfortable one, remember this: your money is there to serve your life, not the other way around. You are allowed to feel safe, secure, and proud of the life you've built and the one you're still building. Because that's the truth, isn't it? Even now you are still building, still shaping your days, still making choices that ripple into the future. Every step you take toward better health, deeper connection, or stronger finances is a step toward something beautiful. A life of independence. A life of dignity. A life where you are free to enjoy your time without guilt, fear, or regret. So here we are, with these three pillars beneath us: the strength of your body and mind, the warmth of your closest relationships, and the quiet stability of financial peace. None of them need to be perfect. But when each one is nurtured with care, they hold you steady. They lift you up. They give you the kind of old age that so many dream of. and that you, without a doubt, deserve. You may not control every chapter that life writes, but you can shape the tone. You can choose the foundation. You can say yes to a life that feels more like freedom and less like waiting. So, what about you? What steps are you taking today to strengthen those pillars in your own life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments. Let this be a space of support and encouragement where we all lift each other up. If this video has given you even one helpful idea, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It means the world to us, and it helps more people like you find this message. And above all, remember this: you are not too old, too late, or too far behind to create a life that feels full, free, and meaningful. You are still writing your story, and the best chapters may be yet to come. Here's to living your best life, at any age.